We are celebrating our 2-year anniversary.
Yeah.
As a podcast, and as you guys know, that's a big feat. 2 years is a long time.
It is to be dedicated to anything. It is.
So some things that have happened in this year for us, we had 23 guests join us on The Way with Jazz and Tay, which is exponentially more people than the year before.
Absolutely.
I want to say we maybe had 3 guests the year before.
I think so. And it was really kind of like, I feel like more towards the end of the year too.
Yeah.
At that, you know.
Yeah, and I think it a lot of it has to do with now that we're with KKNW, we had the space to bring in guests, but 2020 has also allowed us
everybody had a lot of free time.
And it's easy to do it virtually. All you have to do is hop on that Zoom, and we've got somebody from different countries, different states, all over. So we had a lot of really great guests.
We took advantage of that for sure.
I'm really happy about that. We also recorded 50 plus episodes this year. Wow. Yes, new episodes, and that's not including like our Patreon content and any of our video reactions that you would see on our also newly created this year Patreon channel. So, in summation, we were busy bees.
We were very busy. I'm thinking about it. Like we also, I'm sorry. We're going to definitely dive into things, but I'm proud of us. We definitely took advantage.
Yeah, toot your own horn. You should.
Yeah, we took advantage of.
That's what the Queen Bee does.
I think that we really, like, once quarantine kind of hit, we were like, dang, how are we going to, I don't want to say pivot because it wasn't really much of a pivot. We just had to hop on Zoom, but like, it was just different. Like we just started with KKNW and we were new to that, and then it was like, oh, now we're going to be doing this remotely.
Yeah.
And I feel like it did give us a lot of flexibility.
Yeah. And also, like, you guys don't forget, Shantae and I are generally really booked and busy. Like out on a regular year, we've got a lot of stuff going on because we're involved in a lot of different things. So us being able to like take a step back and take a beat and take a breath, like that was so refreshing, putting all that time and energy into our craft. So
into the podcast.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, so to kind of commemorate the 2-year anniversary, we thought it would be fun to share some of our faves, either of this year of the entire 2 years. So we're going to talk about our favorite guest appearances and our favorite events and all that kind of stuff, and just kind of get nostalgic with you guys.
Yeah.
So we're going to kick it off with our favorite guest appearances. For me, I think my favorite guest appearances were going to be Jasmine and Ariel from the Ujima's Village show.
Yes.
As well as Jeff and Kevin from the Pick podcast. Both of those interviews, I just remember being so much fun and like such high energy.
Yes.
That like it kind of like that energy like pushed me through my day, the rest of my day.
Yeah.
And kind of like when we started this, I think that was kind of the thing for us, is like we wanted to put our opinions out and like foster bigger conversations, but like really like there are days after we've recorded and I just feel so energized, and I'm like, this is why we do this, and this is why I love doing this, because it's like I just want to continue to do it. Like who can we interview next?
Yeah.
What can we do next? Like I just want to move off of that momentum. And they were both just a lot of fun to have on the show.
No, I agree with that. I definitely remember getting off of like both of those interviews and being like, one, we feel like that time just like flew by. Like that's how much fun we were having. And then on top of that, just like what you were saying, yes, the energy. Like it's really crazy how a good interview just kind of like puts that extra like pep in your step and gets you inspired. And the girls, especially Jasmine and Ariel, we've developed like a nice relationship with them after this, you know, like that interview really opened us up to have like a decent relationship with them, and they sent us like a goodie box, you know. We still like talk to each other on the gram and stuff, like, and that is also to me like kind of like what it's about, you know. It's not just like a throwaway, like, oh, we got you on the show, cool, thanks for coming, bye. Like,
and
no,
when they blow up, as far as maybe red carpet, then y'all be going and invited, and then
you know,
like, hey, you guys got your start on our show,
you know. And that's another thing too, is they're in South Central LA, like they're not local,
right?
You know, that's a connection that we made in another state. That's awesome.
Yeah, I
Like,
think that that's another point is that like these two, well, most of our guests, but these two specifically, like we didn't know these people prior to having them on, and I think it just says something when you can have somebody on your show and really connect with them like immediately, and the
as
energy
strangers
is like completely flowing. Like you almost don't even have enough time in the show to like really talk to these people. Like when we were interviewing Jeff and Kevin, it was like interviewing the older
experienced
versions of us.
Experience.
I just wanted to say the male versions of us, but they're also older than
Seasoned,
us.
the older male
veteran.
versions of us.
Yes.
Sorry, Jeff and Kevin.
Come on. I'm in their age group. Be careful.
I know. I'm sorry, but like it was like interviewing us, but like the male versions of us. And
Much
them
better.
being cougs. It was
Well
just
played.
like really cool to meet them. You know.
Yeah.
It was just like it's so weird how we could never know who these people are, have them on the show, and then it's like we're friends now.
Like on a normal day, I don't think we'd probably strike up conversations with these kinds of guys, you know, like no offense, you know, but just like they're not our usual demographic or like people that we hang out with.
Right.
Yeah,
And that we have like
their stuff with us is very musically related, and then with the girls in Ujima's Village, that was very movie related, which you guys are also really in touch with and watching things online, especially now with what we're doing to staying at home and so forth like that. Or in place.
Absolutely.
So yeah, those I agree with you both. Great, awesome, jam-packed, high energy shows, technically produced, very busy for me too.
Oh yeah.
And so I also want to say thanks, though, because that's the stuff that I like to do too. And it's like the back and forth, and when you're all done, you're like, you kind of sit back, you're like,
yeah, we did it. We
yeah, and
made
then you're
it.
like, that actually was pretty good. Like, all right, seize the day, you know?
Yeah, I remember that, especially with the episode with Kevin and Jeff.
Oh,
Like,
man.
Thanks for being on top of that.
Oh,
Vinny was
it's all
on
good.
top of it.
All good. It's all of us.
For me, my two that I wanted to highlight was Vaughn Reese, aka our fairy Vaughn mother, and then Justin Herman, the Roast of the 50 States. And that was a special edition episode, but both of those were just, I feel like, memorable for different things. Vaughn, we met through the same collective of people that we know through Summer Splash Fest, which we'll talk more about later and we've talked about before. But she is an amazing force. Like, she is an entity. I feel like, you know, she herself is just like an essence of being. It's so weird to describe her, but she was our very first guest on KKNW, and we brought her on to kind of help us like highlight and help us out with our New Year's resolutions and making sure that we achieve those goals and those things like that. And she is a motivational speaker, I believe, or what does she do again outside of that? A life coach.
Yeah, life
yes,
coach.
a motivational speaker and a life coach. And she does a lot of amazing work with people that are around our age group, and even a little bit younger than us, and kind of helps them, I guess, you know, figure out kind of like who they are and embracing who they are and letting them know that it's completely okay to be who they are, and how they're feeling about things is okay. And I just love that about her, and I love that she challenges us too. She challenges us to look within ourselves
Deeper.
and and that's something for me that I appreciate, because I don't often like challenge myself. So I appreciate other people bringing that kind of stuff out of me.
What I liked about that episode was that she really got to know us and like helped us learn more about ourselves in a way of like, we took a personality test to kind of see. I don't remember like what personality test it was, but we kind of just like learned more about ourselves, and it was very interesting because she remembered that stuff. And then like, I remember one time I put something on my story, like, I really wish I could get up early and like seize the day, you know, and like be one of the early birds that gets the worm, because I have struggle getting up in the morning. And she messaged me and was like, you know, remember the personality test that we took, you know, you're this kind of person. If getting up in the morning doesn't work for you, then don't stress yourself out about trying to make it happen. And it really just like resonated with me, because I was like, you know, because it really doesn't. I don't know what it is that I need to do to make that work, but like everything that I've tried doesn't. And I just wake up in the morning feeling yuck and groggy. And I'm like, you know what, maybe I just need to take her advice and like not one, put so much pressure on myself to be that person that I'm not. And two, you know, what is early, you know, like maybe early for me is like 8 a.m. even though early for others is like 5 a.m.
Right,
and it's
true.
like using that time that I am up from like 8 to 12 to really like do what I'm saying, like seize that day, getting that stuff done and being productive. So yeah, I really did appreciate her and like how she really paid attention to detail and took the time to help us understand ourselves better.
No, and she really does. Like, she'll remember things about you. Like, we've seen her since then, and you know, because she's still very connected, and she's always, oh, my girl's Jazz, my girl's Tate. Like, we love it. She's amazing.
Well, we did feature your guys' debut show last week for the holidays.
Yes,
so if anyone had another chance to listen to it, that was a great opportunity.
Yes.
And then Justin Herman, this dude, like, he was, again, another person who just had great and amazing energy. He's somebody who lives in New York. He's like a Jewish white guy that lives in New York, who sometimes happens to write for like Black shows, like on BET and stuff like that, which is funny, you know, like he makes a joke about that. But what I really enjoyed about him was that he gave us a really nice, like, comedic relief during a time that was really stressful for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Like, we were talking to him right around the time of the elections and all the preliminary stuff and all the drama around, like, the voting and don't mail in and all that fun stuff. And he was just a really nice, like, change of pace in that during that time. And he was also very well informed, which made a difference, because it's one thing to like be a comedian and make these kinds of jokes, but he was making well-informed jokes. And this special that he did was like the roast of the 50 states. He like did his research and breaking them down. And so when he made these like jokes and whatnot, they made a lot of sense. And if you were like from those areas, you would get it. It's funny, but he also broke it down in a way that for those who weren't necessarily from those areas could like get it and could still get it and be a part of the joke. And I really appreciated it.
He made it very relatable. Very relatable.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. We had a conversation. I don't know. We talked to him for like an hour and a half. Like that was a longer discussion because it really did go very, very well. And hopefully we can have him back on.
Absolutely. He had such a breadth of knowledge and experience, and like I remember just like wanting to talk to him about his directing and everything. Like he worked for House Hunters as well, international, and I was just like, could you just tell us some more about that? Like we definitely brought you on just to talk about like to bring a comedic and
like funny stuff,
but, like, let's hear more about that as well. And again, it's just a testament to like bringing these people on who are multifaceted, and they're great. Like there's just so much more to them, and we're learning so much and gaining great relationships as well.
So shouts out to Vaughn, shouts out to Justin Herman.
Definitely enjoyed both of them.
Now let's talk about some of our favorite events from the last 2 years.
Yes.
Shantae.
So for me this year, I just wanted to touch on this because it was a really awesome opportunity, and I feel like we kind of forget it because this year has flown by. Like I feel like it was just January. And we've been in the house, and like it's just hard to remember all the things that have happened. But I really appreciated the Clean Beauty Con that we were able to participate in. We presented at this Clean Beauty Con. Thank you so much, Cassandra, for inviting us. And first of all, we're so happy to have met you.
Yes.
Two, thank you for inviting us to host or participate in a Clean Beauty Con. And we really hope that this relationship that we've formed with you this year also continues to grow, because you're just a great person, and we really, really value what you're doing with Clean Beauty and really trying to bring awareness to that. I think you've also built a really great community of women who are extremely supportive, and we've seen that with the support that we've gained from being a part of Clean Beauty Con and stuff like that.
No, really, like seriously, that's been an amazing opportunity for us as far as like our growth, and like that partnership through Athea Skincare probably would not have happened without her and that kind of connection. So
I was gonna say something else. I remember when we interviewed her this year, she said something about like one of her biggest things is empowering other women, you know, empowered women, empowering women. And she truly lives that, and I appreciate that a lot.
She absolutely does. She really does.
I told her that when we interviewed her, but to, you know, meet her back in like March, I think, and then, you know, to see, you know, how our relationship has grown and just to see her in action, truly lives that and breathes that. I would also say, like, in overall, Splash Fest has been my overall favorite event in our 2 years of being a podcast. It really showed us what we are able to do. And it also helped us to branch out and meet a lot of really great people who we have stayed connected with, and we've interviewed again this year, like Mariah. And we even met Tiger Lily at Emerald City Gala, but we got to actually interview her this year. And
Black Skin.
And just there's just so many people that we're meeting through, you know, our friends. Martial Law Band, thank you guys so much for seeing us putting in work and giving us that opportunity to be at Splash Fest, but also just you know, I feel like people are about community.
Seriously.
And
Marshall's
it really
really
shows,
about that.
You know, it really shows in the way that we've grown just from Splash Fest alone.
Yeah, Splash Fest really was like that was like when everything kind of like changed for us. Or like we even kind of changed our mindset about the podcast because, you know, he reached out to us on a whim, and I literally remember us kind of like doing what we were always doing. We were like chilling downstairs, watching something on Netflix, and we like got hit up to do it. And I remember we were nervous. We were like,
I was like, no.
You weren't sure about it, you know? And I just remember me being my optimistic self. I was like, you know, it's the worst thing, you know, just kind of like, we got to try, you know? I was like, we got to put it out there. And like, I think I remember Saba was there too. And even Saba was kind of like, I think you guys should do it, like, you know, give it a shot. And so we busted our butt to make it happen, and it was a huge learning experience.
I think that's what it is that like you're the optimist where it's like, let's just go and do it, but I'm always thinking about like the logistics, the technicality. I'm like, I don't think we can do this, because if I'm being honest, like I'm definitely glad we did Splash Fest, and it was a learning curve. Like we learned so much. I want to do another one. Like I'm sad we didn't get to do it this year, because I know we could have done it so much better. And I think that's I'm like, because our first one, there were a lot of little like things that I just could not account for. Like even after we had everything recorded, I was still like, wow. We lost
an interview. We had gotten like not necessarily the best mic for the
like
situation.
The quality was not good.
You know, we had to end up moving. We moved locations at one point.
Like we just didn't account for like the fact that this is gonna be a live event with people literally walking
playing
around
music.
us and sneezing and stuff.
The winter months.
Yeah,
that's one of my favorite. Like there was this one recording where like all we could hear was like the background conversation, and some girl was in the back. She sneezed, and then somebody was talking about the winter months.
And I was like, "Yo, this is not good. We cannot use this."
But I will say this, you know, like even though that was like, you know, the setup, and it was a little bit of like, I don't want to say a mess, but like people wanted to talk to us. A lot of people really wanted to talk to us. They were like, oh, you're doing interviews, you're on a podcast. Like, I don't know what, and I think, you know, we were very cute as well. That totally helped. But people really wanted to interview with us. And again, like we met, I would say at least we've met and made like at least 50 plus connections through that event. And like, and to this day, you know, we still talk to so many of these different people, and they're still like incorporating us in different things. And we were in a music video for the Martial Law Band, like, you know, what I mean?
What was I like? We were in a music video.
Like we were. But again, none of that would be possible without Summer Splash Fest.
Absolutely.
So we're gonna kill it come 2021.
I'm ready. Let's go ahead and hop into oh wait, Jazz, you tell yours. I feel like
we have to touch on this one real quick. So the Emerald City
Ceiling Gala.
The Emerald City Gala. So this was kind of like our second event with the Martial Law Band and like through Summer Splash Fest. This was like something that they put on in December, and it was actually like a music fundraiser to help those that are experiencing homelessness in Seattle. So they went out and they actually played music like in Pioneer Square and gave out like food bags and like socks and things like that, and doing really the good work. But this event was amazing. We had all kinds of the same like artists that we met at Splash Fest. They took over Numos, The Runaway, and Barboza in Capitol Hill to host this event. That's how big it was. They had to have 3 different stages, and it was a red carpet event, or I guess you could say a green carpet event.
It was a red carpet.
Oh yeah, that's right, my bad. It was a red carpet event, and you know, they had a limo set up for us. Like, only a few select people got to go hang out in this special like bar down the street. We had some drinks, took some pictures, hopped in a limo, and got shuttled to Numos, and had this whole little moment of like getting out of the car, feeling like superstars. And it was awesome. You know, it was an excuse for us to get dressed up, which we love, but also we were able to work at the same time. We had a videographer with us that time, Lex Scope, who shouts out to you. We met you through the podcast. We met you through Summer Splash Fest and the Martial Law Band. And we were able to conduct even more interviews, and we met even more people that day. I think that was when we actually officially met Black Skin.
Yeah, that was
at
when
the
we
Emerald
met
City
him.
Gala. Yeah. And Campana was there. And it was a big and beautiful event. Again, like, shouts out to Martial and Martial Law Band. Like, so much of this is because of you guys. Thank you for always thinking of us and including us.